everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jonah from Spotlight. Before we get going, please hop in the comments. Let me know if you can hear and see me all right. Um, thank you so much. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Naoko is dropping in saying it was a great event yesterday. Thank you so much for being there. It was a total blast. But hop in those comments. Let me know you're here. You can hear and see me, that everything is going well in life. Let me also know where you're tuning in from, something you're excited to hear, and give me a little bit of an idea who you are. This event today is going to be all for existing educators and teachers, people who are already comfortable and in the classroom building curriculum. They know how that works. They've tested their teaching methods. So let me know what stage of the process you are. If you're an existing teacher who teaches in a classroom, if maybe you have your own private study where you teach individual students, I want to learn a little bit more about you to make sure that this is as valuable as can be. And also, feel free to ask questions at any point throughout the presentation. I will do my best to answer them as they come up. But if I don't answer you right away, don't worry, I'm not ignoring you. I've set aside time after my presentation to answer all of those questions. So if I don't get to it right away, just pop it back in again during the Q&A. And if anything happens around you, life happens, you have to get up away from the computer or anything like that, I'm moving too fast, don't fret. All of this will be available. There will be a replay. It'll be on our YouTube channel, Spotlight by Teachable. It'll also be on the Spotlight event page. You can find it at spotlightapp.io, and it'll be emailed to you if you RSVP'd for the event. So just want to check in on a couple people. Yes, awesome. I'm glad to see so many people here. Peter is saying this is what you need. I have years of classroom experience. That is awesome. Anita is tuning in from Colorado. I do webinars today for a living. Awesome. Anita, me too. Sarah Dawn is here. Sarah, you are always so present. I love you being here. Don't have a curriculum, but done a bunch of one-on-one teaching and want to translate that into an online course. Awesome. Sarah, you've been super present for all of the past events, so I appreciate the heck out of you being here. Laura from San Diego, great class yesterday. Awesome. I'm glad you all got value from that. And then we got a former corporate trainer. We got someone teaching water classes. Judy, I've seen you before. It's blast to have you here again. And then Dr. Mark Dust, experience teaching public health courses that I want to turn into classes. Awesome. So we got exactly the crew here that I was hoping is here today. There are quite a few things we're going to cover in depth, but a lot that we're not covering in depth today. So I just want to call out, and I'll try and do my best to call out during the presentation. If there's anything that it seems like I'm just scratching on, please go look at our YouTube channel, look at the Spotlight events, past events. We've really been trying to build events over the last month and a half that are helping give you actionable resources and steps to take existing curriculum, develop curriculum, put all of that into a product, whether it's a coaching product or a actual online course that you can sell with confidence, knowing that it's transformative, that it's valuable, and that your students are going to get the benefits that you're promising them out of it. So tons of value in those past events, but I want to dive in. It looks like everyone is here and present. Thank you all again for joining us today. Let's get started. So, since I started building my own online courses and since I started doing these events, one of the number one questions that I've gotten directly from people, whether it's people in my direct network, teachers, other people like that. I'm a musician, so I've been a music teacher for a year, have a lot of musician friends who have established curriculum. Also, friends of my parents who are teachers, just people reaching out to me asking this. I have curriculum. Now what? So that's what this course or this event today is built around. People like yourselves who have practiced teaching, who have done all of these things. So if you're here today, you are likely one of these four things, and call out if you're something else that I missed. But you're in the right place today if you are a classroom teacher, you're experienced with teaching in a classroom, and you have tested curriculum that you know is valuable. You're a professional educator, whether that's a contract teacher or you're self-employed educator with established practices. Again, you have that transformation that you know how to walk someone through. You might be a private teacher or tutor like myself who teaches guitar lessons on the side. You're experienced reaching or teaching one on one and helping a student or multiple students achieve a specific goal, or you're a student teacher. And this is something I want to highlight too. If you're a student teacher or studying educator with learned curriculum that you have inherited, you've digested, and you know works because you've gone through that transformation and you're eager to share. If you're any one of those things, you are in the right place. Sarah Dawn, wave at a fellow music nerd. Heck yeah. Oh, you teach piano, Sarah. You are so multi-talented. I love it. So, if you're any of these things, you are in the right place. And I want to make sure that today you get some actionable next steps and tools to be able to figure out how you take this curriculum that you know you can perform one on one, that you know you can perform in a group, and turn it into a resource or a class that you can, at very least, provide to existing students to improve their learning experience. But also maybe sell and make a little bit of an extra income there. So that's what we're talking about today. Let me know if this sounds like you, if you're excited, if you have any questions off the bat, we're going to dive right in. So, if you're one of these things, you are sitting on gold. One of the most difficult aspects of building an online course is the curriculum. We've done at least 4 or 5 past events and tens more with creators, all focused on building curriculum, because time after time we find here at Spotlight and Teachable finds that building curriculum is one of the things that is most difficult for people. So if you're already in this place, you are sitting on a massive opportunity. You have the curriculum, you've tried it, you know it works, you've gotten feedback from students, you've developed it. That's one of the hardest things. You have a network, whether or not you've collected or you've utilized or activated that network. Just about every existing teacher I've talked to that's in this position has students, parents, existing, future, past. You have a network of people that you've encountered and worked with who want your products, who want to learn more from you, who want additional resources. So you have a network. Again, whether you've put it all in one place and got it prepared for activating it, you have people to distribute your products to. You have confidence. And like, sit with me here. Even if you're a little self conscious or you think you don't have that much confidence or anything, if you've ever sat down in a room with at least one other person, let alone a room of people, let alone a room of kids or anything like classroom teachers often are confronted with, and you've been able to teach for an hour or two in front of people, you have the basic confidence skill set that you need to build a beautiful, impactful, powerful online experience for students. And you also have the mindset. If you've developed a curriculum, you've tried it, you've worked through it, and you know how to convey an idea, you likely have systems and tools that you use to give and accept feedback, adapt and evolve your curriculum. You also likely have systems for just getting things done. You've improved your efficiency. Building curriculum is not a scary new thing for you. So, really, if you're in this position, you have a massive opportunity, even if you're not interested in building a business, to just build curriculum that you can share, that can help your existing students and really make more of an impact. Because if you're a teacher, that's likely what you care about, that's likely why you're here. So let me know if this is resonating, if this makes sense. More than anything, I just want you all to take away from this moment now that if you're here, you're one of these people and you're excited about being here, you are sitting on an immense opportunity and you've done one of the hardest things that exists in the online course creation like path, which is creating the curriculum. So, there are, however, a There is one big thing that if you're like any teacher I know, you don't have a lot of, and that is time. Any teacher I know, and you may be a little different if you have a lot of extra time, but you're still teaching. You're an outlier from teachers I know, but most teachers I know are busy as heck and they're already struggling to keep up with the curriculum and the students that they have. So there is no way to get around a certain amount of time you're going to have to put into taking that curriculum and putting it into an online course. However, I'm here today. We're here today. Spotlight is here in general with all of our events. We're committed to trying to make sure that the time you do spend working on this is well spent and productive because it's very easy to get caught up with minor details that hold you up when in reality you could be plowing forward because you can always evolve, you can always improve. But the most important thing is to get a product out there so you can start getting feedback, start growing it, start developing it. So just want to check in the comments. Yep, yep. Everyone is with me. Yeah, a lot of people don't have a lot of time. You're if you're like me, if you're a teacher, like anyone I know, that's the case. So there's a few things you're going to need if you want to make sure that the time you are spending building your curriculum, building your course, your sales page, all these things that you might need, you want to make sure the time is best spent. You're going to need these four things to maximize that time. You're going to need clarity. You're going to need to know what exactly the problem is you're solving, not in the past, not as a teacher, not within your classroom, but for this online course. What is the problem you're solving? That's going to determine how you structure it and what your strategy looks like. The second thing you're going to need is a strategy. It can be very simple, but basically just keeping an eye on what is the goal, you know, to solve the problem. What is the goal and how do you get there? And then a couple more ethereal things you need, but these are born and bred from my experience and many other creators' experience. You're going to need a little grit. Whatever you've developed in the classroom is likely larger, more expansive, and more in depth than you're going to have the ability or time to offer your students in an online course. So you're going to need to cut out a lot. Maybe in the long run, you can add a lot of that information back in. But at first, to get your boots on the ground and get going, you're going to need to cut down a lot of that information and focus on the small problems you can solve most immediately. Once again, so you can go through this process, get a course out there, put it out, and then develop and get feedback. Once you've done it once, it becomes so much easier in the long run. And the last thing you're going to need is a little bit of help. Like I said, if you're a teacher, you don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time at your at your disposal, and there are wonderful resources out there that you can get help to do the things that you can't do or the things that other people can do. There's just a point and time with every teacher or existing educator I've talked to where it makes sense to get a little help and you can give yourself a little bit of a budget to do so. All right. So I'm going to spend most of this presentation today on clarity. And yes, I love it. Sarah is saying, or you could use a time machine. I'd vote for a time machine. Sarah, if I had built a time machine, I've been bugging my grandpa, who's a laser physicist, for years about how it works. If I had built it, I would be here today telling you about it. But until we get that magic time machine, we're going to focus on how we fit this into our life today. So, we're going to spend most of the time today on clarity because that is going to determine everything else. So let's dive a bit into clarity. There are three primary ways I think teachers can offer a lot of value to their students by taking their existing curriculum and putting it in an online format or in an online course. And please, throughout this process, call out if there's something I'm missing. I am just working from my experience, but I want to hear from actual educators and people who are in the field if there's other ways you're planning to have or would like to offer value. But here's the three primary ways I think you can focus on giving value to your students. One is prerequisites. I love this idea. And I've been working with a few teachers who are building mini courses and things like this. But basically, rather than having to spend the first few classes with students in the classroom or with a guitar student or however your business works, rather than having to spend that time, those first valuable hours outline the basics, the fundamental principles that everyone should know in order to understand the stuff you're really passionate about teaching, likely the details, the inner workings of the topics and the industry that you work within. Why not build a mini course or a course that lines up those prerequisites for your students? I love this idea because as a teacher, you put in that time to develop a clear, concise resource where people can learn the fundamentals first. And then when they get to you, when it's time to work in person, you're ready to get into the really good stuff. So prerequisites or, fundamentals, however you want to think of it, providing an online resource where you can tell students, go work through this. It's only going to take a couple hours, but take notes. This is all the stuff you should know before you even enter my classroom. I think that can be a fantastic resource to provide students, and it also allows you to focus more on the stuff you're passionate about. If you're anything like me, when you go to teach a class, you're all excited about the inner workings and all the other aspects of whatever the topic is. And teaching the fundamentals can get a little dull after you've done it time and time and time and time again. So just want to check in. Let me know if this makes sense, if this is hitting the bell. Laura is saying that's brilliant. I'm glad this is clicking for you. Um, what we create and advise how to improve. Denise, I want to catch this question really quick. If you could expand a little bit more, are you talking about today's session? Let me know what you're looking for. Let me know exactly what it is you want, and I can let you know if we can at least shed a little light on it today. So moving on, but everyone keep dropping comments in. I love this. I love this. I'm here for you. Let's keep the conversation going. The second way that I can see right off the bat that existing educators can offer their students value is additional resources that students use within or alongside an existing curriculum. So I want to tell a little story and I'll try and make it short, but basically, up until I think 10th grade, I hated math, which is ironic for me because my grandpa, like I said, is a laser physicist. He taught me how to solder and build circuits at a very young age. He's very passionate about math and just loves the topic, loves everything it enables you to do. I loved all the hands on stuff, but I rejected the math at all costs until I got to 10th grade, where I had a teacher, a math teacher who was absolutely brilliant, and he structured his class absolutely opposite to everyone else. He said, "You're going to go home and you're going to watch these videos." This guy was way ahead of the curve. This would have been 2008. He said, "You're going to go home, you're going to watch these videos, and you're going to learn at home. And then you're going to come into the classroom and we're going to do the homework together." Now, this solved one of my biggest frustrations with math, which is that in past classes, teachers had always tried to struggle through teaching a concept in class, sent us home to do the homework. But if you didn't get it right, you would sit there doing problem after problem after problem after problem the wrong way. And then you would show up the next day in class and the teacher would say, "Wow, good job doing the homework, but you just did 120 problems wrong." I loathed that as a student. And when I got into 10th grade and had this incredible teacher who flipped it, all of a sudden he solved the problem because first thing we come into class and did the homework together and made sure right off the bat that everyone was on the same page. So whether you do this in exactly that style or not, also if you're a teacher in a public school, you know, there's there's a lot of different aspects you might have to consider. I love Mark is saying that's the flipped classroom model, very effective in my university courses. Awesome. I'm glad this is like an accepted thing now. Back in 2008, maybe it was, but he was the only teacher that did that, and it blew my mind. But you can think about this even just as a space where if you put up a camera and film your classes, maybe there's an available space for all the students to go watch those lessons. If you want to just provide additional resources for the students, you can have an online place where students can do that. I also know for a lot of students, hearing it the first time is not always the easiest way. So you can also film short summaries of every class you're going to teach so that students can go in, get a quick, revised, short to the point version of the lecture to remind them, keep them up to date, and keep everything working well. You can also just use it as a resource hub. There's a lot of different ways you can use the Teachable Curriculum Builder, which I'll be showing you a little bit how that works in a little bit later. But I think this is a fantastic thing for existing educators to do if they're just finding that their students need a little more help, but they don't have the time to give it one on one. Using Teachable as a place to provide additional resources for existing students is fantastic. And I love this. Anita is saying we could do additional materials and podcasts to help explain some of the techniques that are difficult to people. Absolutely. This is awesome. Even if you use Teachable as a place just to point to other people's curriculum, you can't necessarily, you got to be careful about copyright if you're selling it. But if you're just giving this to students as a free resource, you can use Teachable as just a place to give continued education, which leads kind of to the last primary way I think existing educators can offer value to students is continued education. So, expanded curriculum for students who are curious to keep learning from you. This is something that's come up with a lot of teachers who have approached me and that I've talked to. They have excited, curious students who are maybe wrapping up on the year or wrapping up on the time they have with the teacher saying, where can I learn more? Or you mentioned that one thing that's not in our bigger curriculum. How do I learn more from it? And it's one of the worst things in the world if you're an educator who's passionate about teaching when you have an actual curious student who really wants to learn more and you don't have an additional resource for them. Maybe you can give them some other creators or people who are doing a lot of good in the field. Maybe you have a YouTube channel or somewhere else where you offer that, but it's so valuable to have a place where you can keep students that care not only about what you're teaching, but how you teach it within your ecosystem. Keep connections with them, watch them evolve, watch them grow. You never know what that student could turn into in a lifelong educating partner or someone who also just really represents your brand and your ability to teach. So I just want to see if this is all working. Real quick, Denise, you were saying, I just want someone to give recommendations to improve any of my graphics, my description, or anything else. Denise, fantastic. I see what you're asking for. We are hoping to set up some events that are a little more like that. But for the moment, if you're interested in just some critique, please head over to my website. It's jonahcohensound.com. I'll just do that for you as with my expertise in the field. And anyone, feel free. There's a contact form on that website. If you just want someone to look over your sales page, give any advice just one to one in that way, hit me up. I absolutely do that for people. Often I'll just do it for free because I enjoy seeing what you all are up to. But if you need a little more one on one help, we can figure something out as well. So, this event today is not necessarily going to be about that one-on-one like critique of what you're working on. But once again, jonahcohensound.com, reach out to me. I am happy to do that for the moment. And then Laura's saying, I used to work in an online charter school and in-person classes were the workshops for this, not in the direct instruction. I like flipped classrooms, love it. So I'm glad that idea, especially as a prep for group coaching, 100%. The prerequisites are fantastic. Anita was saying that. Amy is asking, yes, I love these ideas, but who is our target market? Students, parents, like who are the paying customers? So, Amy, I'll get to that in a second here. And then Dr. Marcus say, great. Yeah, depends on the problem you are solving. Exactly. So that's the stage we're in, clarity. First, we're figuring out what is the problem we're solving, right? So these are a couple ways you can serve students. And the reality is, in general, you could do this for free. because you have a big heart and you care a lot. And I'm not making fun of you teachers. I'm making fun of myself because I get into this mindset always, even like I just did. I want to do it for free because I want to help you. You have a big heart. You really care and you really, really want to help people. You've gone through the transformation that you're teaching people and you want to do the same for others. So, but if you're anything like most teachers, you're probably highly underpaid. Most teachers across this nation are underpaid compared to other people within their field or who have the same degrees. And so, even if you start by doing this for free as just providing extra resources for your students so that they learn more and you can focus your time one on one teaching them on the things that you're really passionate about teaching, this can turn into a money source. Amy, I'm going to talk about exactly how you target that in a second. It gets a little tricky depending on whether you're working for a public institution. There's things to consider. But either way, even if you start this for free, you are building a catalog of valuable resources that you will be able to monetize at some point and hopefully supplement your existing income, because even though you care a lot and you do just want to help people, all of this value that you're building it, and if you build it within Teachable, whether you charge for it right away or not, that is a resource and you can turn on that paid option whenever you're ready to start charging. Amy, I also want to call out that we've done some past events all about honing in on your target market, figuring out exactly who those people are. But yes, we are acknowledging that this can turn into a legitimate business as well. So, like I said, you're going to need a few things. Hopefully, clarity we solved. I want you to focus first on what is the problem. Are you trying to provide education for students ahead of encountering your personal one on one education? Are you trying to provide additional resources for students to take advantage of while they're in your class? Or are you trying to provide continued education for students whose lives you've already impacted but want to learn more from you? Amy, I'm curious because also this event might not apply directly to you. We're not 100% talking about building a business. We're really focused on helping teachers turn their existing curriculum into an online course first and foremost, so they can help students more, improve that curriculum, and really make it valuable as an online resource. Then you can start worrying about targeting people, actually paying for it, and building a business out of it. But the next thing you're gonna need is strategy. Okay. And there are 4 steps for taking your existing curriculum and putting it into an online course. I want you to take a screenshot of this. Obviously, each one of these steps may be a little trickier than it seems like right here in this presentation, but these are the 4 steps that it's going to take when you have existing curriculum to turn it into an online course. First, you're going to need to assemble everything. So, if you are a private teacher and you've been recording all of your classes with students, if you haven't been, you should be recording all of your classes with students. Even if you don't end up using the portion with the students in it, every moment where you're talking and explaining something to a student, that's safe for you to share. That's something you own. And that alone could turn into an online course. Please go check out the past event we did called Building Curriculum the Smart Way and Getting Paid While You Do It. In that, we walk all through how you can build curriculum materials while you're actually teaching. But if you've been teaching over Zoom or if you've been teaching in the classroom, likeliness is you have you have existing curriculum and you just need to assemble it. First, get everything together for the topic and the problem that you're trying to solve in one big pile. Next, and this is where the grit comes in, you're going to have to cut it down. And that's not because you need to make some clickbaity, tiny little bite sized thing, but you really want to focus on small problems first, more than anything, because, like I said, you want to do this at least once. Build one online course. If you can do that in a small, effective way that works, doing the next one will be so much easier. And if you didn't know this, you can always add to courses. You can always develop them. You can swap out videos. You can do whatever you want. So, the most important thing is having a clear, concise problem that you're solving and solving that problem with as little material as you possibly can to deliver on the impact that you're promising. The next thing you're going to need to do is sort it all out a little bit. So, if you have just notes that you use to present your lectures, you're going to need to take those notes and turn them into and turn them into like an actual PDF or text. If you have videos, you're going to need to edit them. You're going to need to prepare everything for the teachable online experience. For the most part, what that just means is if you have any bit of information, whether it's videos, text, presentations, or anything that's really just for you and someone who isn't you might not understand that, you need to put that in a form that is built for other people to understand. The last thing you're going to need to do is execute. Add your curriculum into the Teachable platform. I'll show you roughly how to do that in a minute here. But this is really in the execution and the sorting process is where I am a big, big proponent of getting a little extra help. So give yourself a little bit of a budget at this point. I'm sure 1 through 3, or at least 1 and 2, are all things that you can do or already have done. But when it comes to 3 and 4, this is where your time just isn't spent becoming an expert. Okay. Like, you don't need to become a video editor, you don't need to become a virtual assistant or graphic designer. If you give yourself a budget of $200 to $300 roughly to build a course, if you have to do less, $50 to $100 can go a really long way if you're absolutely clear about what you need from someone and how they can get it to you, and you provide them with the resources to do a quality job in the first place. A lot of people that I hear who are unhappy with their experience hiring people out, don't give clear instructions. As a contractor myself, I've experienced this a lot too, where someone says, edit this video. I go, okay, they liked my work. I'm going to edit it to the best of my ability. And then they come back and say, why didn't you do this, 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 and this, and this? And I was like, coulda, if you told me. So make sure that in this process, you're explicitly clear about what you need from someone. But to build a great online course, a transformative experience, you can get the help you need in these 3 categories with $100 to $300 max if you're efficient and clear. You can tell yourself you don't have that money. You can sit on the fence about whether it's not, valuable, or whether you shouldn't spend money before you're making money. You can do all of that, but time and time again, I hear people hung up on building their online course. They have the curriculum, they have the network, they have that gold that they're sitting on. But, oh, I just need to learn to become a proficient video editor, or I just need to finish my logo, or figure out the technology, or get time to put it all in Teachable. I hear excuse after excuse after excuse, and I get it. I get it. I'm the same way. I am passionate about learning, and I'm confident that I can do these basic things. So I try and do absolutely everything myself. I've tried to do everything myself. That's true with my music, where I've learned to record and produce and engineer and all of these things. I've gone through building courses alone. I've done all of these things alone. And yes, there is value to it. I'm grateful to have learned how to do all of these things. These skills are valuable, but do you really want to do that? Do you want to become a professional video editor? Do you want to become a professional like engineer? Do you really want to do something else? You already have the expertise. You already have worked your whole life becoming an expert in the thing that you teach. You don't need to become 9 different experts to do this. I can't push this hard enough. The first time you do it, the first time you hire someone to help you out, you're going to find it makes such a difference. You can look for these people on Fiverr or Upwork. You can look for virtual assistants. You can look to your students. If you have students who are old enough, there's restrictions if you're working with kids, but if you have students who are old enough, who are passionate and interested, have skills on the internet, know how to edit videos or any of that, you can turn to them first. What a fantastic way to have them help you and you help them. But really, really just hire out whatever it is that you don't have to do. You have to make the videos, you have to assemble the curriculum, you have to be the face of it. Everything else can be done by someone else. I can't stress this enough because this is the number one barrier I see existing educators bashing their heads against. They're waiting until they figure out this little thing or that little thing, when really, if you're just clear about what you need, you can hire that out for 20 to 30 bucks an hour, no problem. And it shouldn't take someone long to help you get those things ready if you're clear about what you want. So, is everyone with me here? Is this making sense? Is it working out? We've covered clarity. I hope we've covered basic strategy. I know it's a little vague. We're going to go into depth in future events about just strategy in general. If you don't have a clear curriculum yet, please, once again, go watch that event, Building a Curriculum the Smart Way and How to Make Money While You Do It. We also covered that in the process of trimming down and making this available for everyone, you're going to need a little bit of grit. You're going to need to sit down and say, okay, I can't teach everyone everything. We have to focus on a specific problem and solve it for them. And you're also going to need that little bit of help. Really, really, really. I know I keep harping on this, but don't be afraid to spend a little money on yourself developing this. Also, if you have a business, this is an investment you can write off. If you work for another organization and you're building a valuable resource, see if they can help you. Pitch it to them. Be clear about what the problem is you're solving, how you're going to solve it, and what it costs. And very likely, you can get a little help. So, in a second, I want to dive into Teachable and show you a couple of the tools that are on the platform. And once again, if you need additional help, there are resources on the Spotlight YouTube page, all our past events that go much more into detail about certain aspects. Amy, who was asking about targeting students, we go into detail about finding your first 5 students. We actually did that yesterday. So if you really, really want to focus more on the target market, who is your target market? Go watch that video. And also, in general, it's hard to tackle that because it depends a lot. If your students are old enough that you can engage them and have them pay for a course, your students should be the primary customers. If you're working with younger students, you might be creating a resource that is for those younger students, but you have to market to the parents. So without knowing exactly what it is you're teaching, it's a little tricky to recommend exactly how to go about it. But I want to take it. I want to take and look at a couple questions before we dive into the Teachable product itself. First, I just love these questions. Teachers get paid what you're worth. No more free work. There's people who will pay for our expertise. Chris, yes. Once again, I said you can do this free because you have a big heart, but I am a big proponent of you getting paid. However, I do recommend that you build a product first, go through that experience before worrying about it. If you're an existing teacher, you're in an ideal place to do that since you've already hashed out all of that. Getting paid, having a little extra income is totally present. Either way, you are building a product that has value that you can charge for in the future. Denise is saying, I created a beta course using Zoom and slides. It was challenging because people are less interactive than in person. If you have ideas for keeping people engaged, that would be useful. Denise, what a great question. I want to do a whole event in the near future just about ways to keep people engaged virtually. It's a lot harder than it is in person, like you're saying. Although I've taught in classrooms as well, I've taught kids. It can be hard to keep kids engaged as well. I think one of my number one tips from my experience as a teacher to get people engaged is to ask them how they would teach something. So if you explain something to your students, follow up with the question, okay, now that I explained that to you, how would you teach that to someone else? I use this technique when teaching kids because, first and foremost, it tells me if they were listening, but it's also not just asking them to regurgitate the information back to me. It's asking them to tell me how they would synthesize that information and teach it to someone else, which really tells you if they understand it or if they're just kind of learning the words that they can regurgitate to someone else. So that's a really useful tool I found, and it works really well virtually. And then another thing is if you're teaching in this kind of format like we are here today, asking people to engage. If you've noticed, I'm constantly saying, hop in the comments. Let me know what you think. Are you following me? Is this working? If you have other ideas, let me know. So, really working in those call to actions into your curriculum online makes a big, big difference. And like I'll show you in a second, within the Teachable platform, there are ways to enable comments so people can be involved. There's a lot of different ways to keep people involved, but what a good question. It is hard and it's disheartening at first when you're not getting that feedback, but it will come in time. You'll refine your methods and you'll start finding ways to really draw people out. All right. So Anita is saying we're experimenting with 5 to 15 minute segments for each module. Quick, easy, done. Love it. Love it. That's such a great way to nail things down. Dr. Mark is ask or replying to the keeping people engaged, ask them quiz questions right after the video and then again 3 days later. I love that. Mark, if I have your permission, I'm going to steal that. I hadn't thought of that. Again, a week later. Yes, yes, yes. Recall after giving them time to forget increases retention. That's such a good trick. Anita is saying I brought on a partner to help keep us accountable with a budget and a schedule. My partner does the tech and I do the materials. Anita, that is a fantastic solution. I've done the same with one of the courses I'm building. I have a partner I'm working with. My one bit of advice is be very cautious and very clear about what the arrangement is in that situation. It's really tempting right off the bat to do a 50-50 split or be like, we can both make the same amount of money. In my experience, that's really dangerous. And you need to consider if you are trying to make a living off of this, if you're trying to sell it in the future, there is a huge chunk of effort that you may not think about after everything is built, after everything is live, that goes into marketing. Who's taking that on? And how do you make sure that they get reasonably compensated for that? That said, within Teachable, there's a couple clever ways you can do this. If you want to do, say there's a 50-50 split for anyone who just happens to land on the landing page, you can also set up affiliate marketing links. So you could give your co creator a link and say, anyone who comes from this link, which is your marketing, you get a little more, I get more from coming from this link. So there are great ways to do it. I just want to I want to caution you right off the bat from just saying 50-50 is fair, because there's a lot of extra work that goes into a course after, and you need to look at that marketing and what that's going to take and consider that also as a reasonable cost expense that you should be compensated for, whoever is responsible for that. Um, Awesome. So we're getting. I love where everyone's head is at and where everyone's going. I want to see if there's any questions. Um, can a student upload a recording of themselves teaching it to you? In Teachable, that's a little tricky, but there are totally ways to enable that. Even just with emailing students and saying, "Send me a video." That's totally possible. Also, there's ways in the comments for them to do that if they upload a video to YouTube and they can make it unlisted, or using Loom, which is a fantastic service, they can obviously share any of those links in the comments within a course. So there's totally way to do that. Dr. Mark, thank you. I'm taking that 100%. And yes, yes, yes. Okay, sweet. And Anita, I'm glad you're hearing me there. Awesome, awesome. And yes, Dr. Mark, you should totally create a class on how to create an engaging class. We're in the metaverse now as far as that stuff goes. I've done events with creators who are, so we're doing an event on teaching course creators how to create courses about creating courses. We're in that world. Do it. I love it. However, let's take the last 5-10 minutes here. I want to show you a couple things within the Teachable product that actually make all of this possible. So, first, if you don't have a Teachable account, but you're here today, you're interested, you can sign up to Teachable completely free. They have a free plan. It's not a trial, it's a free plan where you can go in and play around with just about everything we talked about today, build lectures, build courses, see what the platform is like before ever upgrading. It's totally free. The link is in the description to do so. And it makes it super easy to just get a feel for what building curriculum on the platform looks like. So, once you have created an account, the first thing it's going to ask you to do is create a school. If you already have a Teachable account, a creator account, but you want to create a new school or haven't created a school yet, you can simply log into your account and then click create a school here. You'll be asked to name the school. You can always change that later, so don't get hung up on it. Just name your school, get into the platform, start playing around. Super easy to create a school. Once you create a school, you're going to be dropped into your dashboard, which will look a little different the first time you get in there. But essentially, you're given this huge area with a bunch of different tools, a bunch of different things you can do. But if you're mainly concerned just about getting a feel for what things will look like in a curriculum in this way, uh, you just want to go to the curriculum builder. So the first thing you're going to have to do is create a course. You do that by clicking courses and then new course. If you don't have any courses, there will be a big clear button there for you. Create a course. You can create a course. It's super easy, and that'll drop you into the curriculum builder. So if you built curriculum in a classroom before or anything like that, it should be relatively familiar to you. What you have is first a section builder. So you can build different sections. Think of these as maybe days in the classroom or like bigger topics. You just create a new section up here. You click that, you name it, and it's going to show up like this. Then within each section, you have individual lectures. We have done and are going to do some more events in the future about advice for how you structure your courses and your lectures that work well in an online format. But first and foremost, just play around with getting your curriculum on the platform. Once you want to edit, if you want to edit the name of a lecture, you just click there, you change it, you click there. And if you click on an individual lecture, you're going to be given the lecture builder. You can add a file, you can add text, you can build a quiz within it. If you're dealing with educating in code, you can do example code. You also, if you know any code, you can customize just about everything with the Teachable experience. And at any point throughout the course, you can add an upsell, which is the opportunity to sell something to your students. So even if you're offering a course for free to your students, within the course, you have the opportunity to add value and get paid along the way by having actual products built within your free course. So, this is what the lecture builder looks like. One last thing, just as far as keeping people engaged and everything, you can turn on or off your comment section right here. I highly recommend in your text saying, go say something in the comments or doing it in your video. But if you ever want to see what the experience is going to be like for a student, at any point in the curriculum builder, you can just click preview. That's going to take you to the actual lecture so you can see it as if you were a student, and you can walk through the whole experience, see what it looks like, see how the videos look, what the text looks like underneath. You can also see here, I'm using a variety of elements in my course. I have videos to introduce people. I have a little text to let them know what they can do next. I have the worksheet, which is a PDF, and then another worksheet with just a PDF, and then a quiz. So you can build each lecture with all or one of these elements. If you're intimidated by video in general, you don't need video to get started. you can just get started with the text and the PDFs, all of the resources you've already built for students. The last thing I want to show you, just as far as keeping in touch with your students, if you're really just building for a small cohort or you don't have a whole email list, you're not working with any of that right away, you can email and contact anyone enrolled in any of your courses at any time to keep them up to date, keep them accountable, make sure things are working for them. You can do this here in the email. You just on your sidebar click emails and then compose. And you can either send to an individual user, to anyone within a course, or to all the users, anyone who's enrolled in all of your courses. So it's a wonderful, super easy platform to incorporate into your existing teaching model. And if you've built valuable things there, then you can go and sell them. You can do your marketing all within the platform. It's it's so valuable to have one place where you can access all of these tools. All right. So, everybody, let me know. Those are the basic functions in Teachable. We have a few more minutes here. So, I'm happy to show off any of the aspects of Teachable that you might want help with, or if there's any still residual questions, I can go back to old slides. I do want to call out quick while any questions roll in. We've provided a bunch of additional resources in the description of the video. If you go down there, first and foremost, like I said, if you don't have a free Teachable account, go start one, start playing around in the platform. And if you want to just make something beautiful right away, we also built an online mini course for you. It's totally free. It's called Establish Your Online Home Base. Establish your internet home base on Teachable. It's a 5-day challenge. You can take as long as you want to get through it, but it's built to help you work 10 to 15 minutes a day for 5 days. And at the end of it, you will have a beautiful homepage that represents yourself, your brand, and your business, as well as an email lead capture form. So you can start collecting leads and people who are interested in the course. So both of those links are in the description. I highly recommend you pop in there. They're both free to get started. And we also put in there a PDF called How to Sell an Online Course. If you've already built an online course, but you're looking for more tips like Amy was about how to target your audience, who your ideal students should be, how to actually build a business out of it, that PDF is an extensive resource. In there, we walk through the top tips for each stage of the process, as well as link to clips with past Spotlight creator events where bona fide, legitimate business creators are talking about the specific tools and resources that can really help you build a successful online business. So, I hope all of those resources are helpful for you. Please go back and check them out. If you don't have time now, when the replay email comes to you, go check out those additional resources as well. Continue. If you have any more questions, drop them in. I want to make sure that I get to everything you asked. I think I tackled everything so far. I'm trying to see. Oh, Dr. Mark is asking if I'm using an Ecamm. I am not. I am using a Sony A6300. In many cases, if I'm traveling or I don't have access to my studio, I'll just use my phone. There's a fantastic program called Camo that allows you to use your phone as a webcam. If you do that, I highly recommend using the back camera. It's a lot better. But today I am using my $2,000 DSLR camera with a $1,000 lens because I can. I think it looks great. I'm glad you noticed. So no, I am not using that. But if you want to pick up anything like that, if you have any questions, once again, hop over to jonahcohensound.com. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about tech or anything like that. I am a music and video producer, so wildly versed in audio, video, anything like that. Happy to answer those questions, or just pop them in the question or in the comments. I do come back and read all of those. Um, Excellent. Are there any other questions? I think. Oh, Oh, the software you are using to live stream. No, we are using StreamYard. Sorry, I did not know Ecamm was the software. We work with StreamYard. It's super efficient, allows you to stream to multiple places at the same time. It also allows me to see all the comments coming in, have all these elements that pop up like this and that. So StreamYard is what we use. This is not a paid ad, but I am a big fan. It makes it really easy to do live streams like this. Um, and then Anita is asking, I love getting a lot of tech questions here. What is your mic? This is a Shure MV7. If you've been on TikTok, if you've watched any YouTube videos, you've likely seen the grandparent of the MV7, which is the Shure SM7B. That is the mic that Michael Jackson recorded on and a whole bunch of stuff. It's a fantastic mic, the SM7B, but it is both really expensive and it requires that you also have audio interface and a whole bunch of stuff. The MV7 is a more recent mic from Shure, and the beauty is, although I'm using it with a mic cable, it does have a USB input and a headphone out, so you can plug this right into your computer, plug your headphones into it, and be going right away. So, highly recommend that. I was not intending to plug my website this much, but if you go to jonahcohensound.com under resources and Amazon store, I have a whole bunch of gear listed that is all my recommendations and is set up make it super easy for you to find the gear you need to make high quality stuff. um Hop in the comments, let me know if you have any more questions, and if you're watching the replay as well, hop in the comments, let me know if there's any residual questions. Also, let me know if today was helpful. I had a blast hanging out with you all as always. I'm always delighted to see additional people like popping into these events, and for everyone that's been at all of the past events and this event, I appreciate you so much, not only because you're taking the time and commitment to learn and dive into actually building a successful business, but also because it's a delight to see you here. It's a delight to see you all grow. So, last thing I'll say once more, if you don't have a Teachable account, there is a link in the description. You can start completely free and get going with building an online course, get used to the platform, build a basic mini course, all of these things that are super valuable just to get started. And those additional resources, the mini course and the PDF are there as well. And if you had a good time today, please like and subscribe to the Spotlight channel. We are continuing to try and bring you events like this to help you build and construct the curriculum, the coaching offers, the copy, the sales page, all of these things that you need to build an online business as an educator. We're really working hard to provide those to you. So, also, if there's a topic or an event that you're not seeing and you think we should have, pop it in the comments. We do read all of those, and we're excited to build events around the things you want to learn. So, pop that in the comments if there's something you didn't get out of this event or would like to see in the future. And if you see a comment like that from someone, like it so we know that it's valuable to a bunch of people. We really want to make sure that all of these events are providing you value. And last but not least, I think I said that already, but I'm going to say it one more time. If you had a good time today, please consider showing up for tomorrow's event. Tomorrow's event, we are going to be sitting down with Darnell Brown, who is a growth strategist for entrepreneurs, helping you build a business that can make the impact you want to provide students with and people with. He is fantastic, especially in the area of maximizing your time. I know we're all a little burnt out on the phrase optimization from Silicon Valley, but Darnell Brown has really, really, really actionable resources and strategies and tools for making sure that the time you do spend within your busy schedule working on your business is spent efficiently and is optimized to make sure that you're not wasting any of that valuable time and holding yourself up when you could be creating powerful, impactful products. So, once again, to everyone who was joining today and who was here today, thank you so much. It means the world that you're here with us. I always have a blast learning and teaching with you. Tomorrow's event will be an hour later, so it starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope to see you there. It's been a blast as always. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you all soon.